All right, let's get into it. You hear about artificial intelligence everywhere, right? But its story is way longer and honestly a lot more surprising than you might think. Today, we're going to trace that incredible journey and uncover Canada's surprisingly central role in the whole thing. So, this dream of artificial intelligence, it's not new, not by a long shot. It actually goes all the way back to ancient myths, stories about thinking machines and automatons. But for centuries, that's all it was, a dream. Now, we're living smack dab in the middle of the AI revolution. It's a reality, and it is changing absolutely everything.
So the big question is, how did we make that jump? How did we go from myth to machine? And maybe the most surprising part of the whole story, how did Canada become such a key player in turning science fiction into our global reality? Let's unpack that.
Okay, so our story really kicks off around the mid-20th century. The quest for AI starts with this huge wave of optimism and excitement, but, well, that initial hope was about to hit a pretty big wall.
Yeah, that initial hope, it just slammed into reality. The promises were massive, right? We're talking self-driving cars, universal translators, machines that could actually reason. The reality, though, was that the technology just wasn't there yet. Computing power was a tiny fraction of what we have today. So as progress stalled, the funding dried up, and the world entered what we now call the AI winter. The dream went completely cold.
And this is where the story takes a really fascinating turn. Just as the world was giving up on AI, one country became this unlikely sanctuary, quietly keeping that little flame of research alive.
You see, there was this small group of visionary researchers who had a radical new idea called deep learning. Basically, they were trying to build AI that could learn from huge amounts of data, kind of like how a human brain does. But in the middle of the AI winter, nobody wanted to fund it. They needed a place that would give their unproven ideas a real chance to grow.
And that place was Canada. Now, this quote right here from Geoffrey Hinton, one of the so-called godfathers of AI, says it all. He found a home at the University of Toronto, and he points directly to Canada's willingness to play the long game. This wasn't about quick profits, it was about believing in the science.
Another pioneer, Yoshua Bengio, says the exact same thing about his work in Montreal. So you see the pattern here, right? It was this unique Canadian ecosystem, this mix of academic freedom and stable public funding that created the perfect incubator for the next great leap in AI.
Look, this wasn't just about protecting an idea from the cold. The work that was being done quietly in Canadian labs during those years didn't just survive, it thrived. And when the rest of the world was finally ready, it was this Canadian-nurtured research that would spark the global AI revolution we're living in today.
So how did this foundational research grow into a global powerhouse? That breakthrough led directly to the forging of Canada's AI corridor.
Recognizing the incredible asset it had, Canada decided to double down. It launched the Pan-Canadian Artificial Intelligence Strategy, and this is key, it was the very first national AI strategy anywhere in the world. The goal was pretty simple. Take that academic excellence and build an entire national ecosystem around it.
And the result of that strategy was the creation of this powerful AI corridor. You can think of it like a superhighway of innovation stretching across the country, anchored by 3 world-class centers of excellence: Toronto, Montreal, and Edmonton.
And this table here kind of breaks down the specific strengths of each hub. In Toronto, you've got the Vector Institute focusing on deep learning. Over in Montreal, Mila is this global beacon for academic research, also specializing in deep learning. And then in Edmonton, Ami leads the world in a different approach called reinforcement learning, which is all about teaching AI to make decisions through trial and error, almost like how you train a pet. Each hub has its own unique focus, and together they create an incredibly powerful national network.
So what does all of this mean for Canada today? It means the country's long-term bet paid off, big time. It placed Canada right at the forefront of one of the most important technological shifts in human history.
If you take just one thing away from this explainer, let it be this. Canada was number 1, the first nation on Earth to launch a national AI strategy. It wasn't a follower, it was the leader that wrote the playbook.
And this leadership really matters. It means the best and brightest minds in AI want to come here. It's creating new companies and new jobs. It's helping us tackle huge challenges, from discovering new medicines to fighting climate change, and it fundamentally cements Canada's reputation on the world stage as a home for true, groundbreaking innovation.
By providing that shelter from the storm, Canada became the cradle for the modern AI revolution. It protected AI's past. The real question for all of us now is, how will we choose to shape its future?